third year triple E students, welcome to this video lecture on third unit of power system analysis, that is load flow studies. These third and fourth units are on load flow studies. We have seen in the second unit about short circuit analysis, that is about the fault current calculations for symmetrical faults and also unsymmetrical faults. Now we will see about the load flow studies. Load flow studies, also called as power flow studies. The need of this load flow studies is very much in the power system analysis. The introduction for this load flow studies goes like this. As we know, the power system of today is a complex network. This complexity is because of continuous growth in demand. We know that as demand is growing, the system of today is continuously expanding and it is becoming more complex. For such a complex network, planning for operation as well as planning for future expansion. That means if you want to expand it for meeting new loads, and if you want to operate it successfully, we need a lot of data, operational data we need, and that data is to be obtained by the power system engineer. So that data is very important. With that, we can take right decisions with that. Therefore, getting of that data is the duty of the power system engineer. Load flow is one of such programs or such analysis that gives you the steady state data of a given power system. Data means data about bus voltages, active and reactive power flows in all the lines, etc. Simply saying, the load flow analysis or load flow studies is nothing but steady state solution of the power system, interconnected power system. Like any other electrical network, the solution of this power system network also contains determination of node voltages, determination of currents, and thereby powers in all the interconnecting lines. So that is the main aim or main data that we are going to obtain from this load flow study. So once again I am saying, the load flow studies or load flow analysis is nothing but steady state analysis of given power system network. As we are saying steady state, in practice there is no question of steady state for the power system. We cannot imagine that the power system will be in steady state. Normal load changes will be there. In addition to that, some unwanted or accidental faults that are going to take place on the system. With that, the voltages and currents and the state of the system is continuously changing. There is no question of steady state. Anyhow, for this purpose of load flow, we assume that the system is steady state for the point of consideration, and for that state we are going to determine all these voltages and currents and power sets. That we will do in the load flow analysis. You see here it is mentioned that in fact the use of computer, that means as this load flow analysis is also contains huge data because of the large size of the system. It is somewhat difficult to proceed manually. So like all other studies, these studies are also have to be performed by using a computer. Here it is mentioned with we already covered it in the introduction. The use of computer is not new for this power system studies. Computer was used in the year 1929 itself, and at that time we used a low version and big sized computers. All this is covered. Now we will see something more in deep about the load flow. That is what I said so far is the introduction of the load flow. Now here same thing here mentioned in another words. You see the crux of load flow studies. Crux means the aim or the main intention of the load flow conduction of load flow studies is given a certain load demand at all buses. What is the most effective manner in which generation can be scheduled at various buses so that voltage at buses are within the acceptable limits. So this task explain about the operation, steady state operation of the system. If loads are fixed or specified at all the buses, to meet those loads, what is the generation schedule to be followed so that no bus is exceeded from the voltage or reactive power limits. It is nothing but determination of bus voltages and line powers, etc. Same thing as I explained previously is given in another words like that here only. That's it. So that is about the load flow. And when coming to this load flow or power flow, these studies are most frequently carried out type of study by the utilities. That means engineers in the utilities for various purposes. Compared to all other studies, load flow studies are frequently used type of study. They are used for different purposes. You see here, besides being used for determining static operating state, load flow calculation constitute part of the programs for studies such as stability, optimization, etc. What it means, not only to determine static operation state, but also these load flow studies constitute a part. That means these are the prerequisites for other types of studies such as stability studies, optimization, etc. So these are used to find out steady operating condition, steady state solution, and also these are used for other studies also. In this way we can say that the load flow studies are most frequently carried out type of studies. That is the reason why they are important. So what I said here, it is mentioned. Some of the information or results obtained from load flow studies are, you see, MW and MV are flowing in the network. That means, as I said, active and reactive are flow in all the lines. This is nothing but MW and MV are flow in all the lines. Flow in the network means flow of power in all the lines. That is one data. And magnitude and phase angle of bus voltages. All bus voltages, magnitude and their phase angle. These voltage angles of all buses are expressed with respect to reference bus or reference bus voltage. And third data is of course dependent on the above two. By knowledge of this and this data, effect of rearranging circuits and effect of new circuits on loading. So we can take, this is of taking decision taking data. If we are using new circuits, or if we are using new lines, how the power flow and bus voltage are changing, that also we can get. It is nothing but from the previous two data we can decide this third point also. So these are all the data that we are going to obtain from the load flow studies. So that is about the load flow studies. Once again I am saying, load flow studies is the study conducted to determine the steady state solution of the power system network. In addition to the steady state solution, the load flow analysis is also used for other types of studies. Next, the data obtained from load flow studies is that was the load flow. Now, what is the data we need to start a load flow problem? That we will see now. Either bus admittance matrix or impedance matrix is used in order to formulate the problem. Y bar Z bus is used, but usage of Y bus is generally followed by many of the utilities because of its easy. So I can say that Y bus data is required. That is one data we need. Next, the starting point in updating data is online diagram. This is anyhow straightforward. Not only for this, for any types of study, we need first of all one line diagram or single line diagram or schematic diagram that gives a clear picture of the system. That is anyhow clear one, that is needed for any data, any type of studies. Next, values of series impedances, shunt admittances, transmission lines, etc. These are all already mentioned. These are all required. Data of all these things is required for Y bus, construction of Y bus. So this data is nothing but Y bus data. This is already mentioned here. That is one thing. This is all over. Introduction is here. Here it is once again. Same thing is repeated here. You can check it out. I am going now directly to the data for load flow. What we are discussing now, mentioned here also, same thing. So you see, same thing. Bus admittance Y bus data or Z bus data is required. Values of series impedance, shunt admittance, etc. for Y bus data is required. That is one thing. Next, another data is this. Operating conditions must always be selected for each study. That is, at each bus, some data is required. This is called bus data. This is Y bus data, that is already over. Now, second type of data is bus data. Bus means, the interconnection of two or more elements. For example, at one point, bus is also known as node in our small networks concept of point of view. Node. Here, in power system point of view, it is same node is called bus. Bus means it is a meeting point of several components such as lines, generators, loads, shunt reactors for the purpose of voltage improvement, etc. So a bus is an interconnection or meeting point of one or more elements. At each bus except one bus, the bus data, the procedure of taking the bus data is like this. Now I am explaining. At each bus except one bus in the given system, the net real power into the network must be specified. The net real power into the network. Real power means P in watts or kilowatts or megawatts. The net real power flowing into the network must be specified or must be known. That is one thing in finding the net power. This we will see later. In finding this net power means, for example, if at that particular bus some power is injecting by generator and some power is taking by some load. Then the net power is obtained by taking injecting power minus load power. Injecting power minus load power, that is the net power. Like that we can calculate the net power. That we will anyhow see in the later part of the discussion. You remember that at each bus net real power P is to be specified or is to be known. That only you remember now. That is one point. P is to be known. Next, you see here, in addition to this net real power P at all buses except one bus, already said, a choice here is available. Net flow of reactive power, that means net Q into the network, or magnitude of voltage V must be specified. Don't be confused. At each bus P must be specified or given except one bus, and in addition to this P, either Q or voltage magnitude, should also be specified. Like that, these 2 points are to be specified. Based on the Q or V specified, the buses can be named. That we will see later. Now, just now we will see. Next, I said in the previous 2 points of discussion that except one bus, that one bus at which real power is not specified, only one bus at which real power is not specified, is called swing bus or slack bus. So, out of the given buses, at one bus we will not specify the real power. That bus is called slack bus. Why we don't specify real power here is, this real power at all the buses cannot be determined in advance. That means before conduction or before completion of the load flow problem, we cannot calculate the total real power at all the buses. Or in other words, if you want to say, we cannot calculate the losses, real power loss in the system without calculating the powers in all the buses or all the lines. So that is the reason why we assume that one bus is there that is supplying the losses in the system, and we will keep that bus aside without considering it into the process of computation. Just we will assume that one bus is supplying the losses in the system, and we will keep that bus aside. That assumed bus is called slack bus or swing bus. We calculate the power at this bus at the end of the solution of the load flow by using the data obtained, that means by using the results obtained in the problem. We finally, at the last step, we calculate the power at this bus, and the power at this bus represents the losses in the system. Like that, we will keep one bus aside without considering it in the process of computation. That bus is known as slack bus, and this bus, same bus, is taken as or is considered as a reference bus also for bus voltages. So this bus is called slack bus or reference bus. So like that, from this discussion we conclude that the buses may be classified like this based on the quantities given and the quantities to be obtained. You remember that in general there are 4 quantities specified at each bus. Those 4 quantities are P, Q, voltage magnitude V, and voltage angle delta. 4 quantities. As per our previous discussion, 2 quantities are specified at each bus, and remaining 2 are to be determined in the load flow problem, in the load flow solution. I said that at all buses except one bus, P is given. So therefore, P is given here, P is given here. For some buses, P is given. For some bus, remaining buses also, P is given. At only one bus called slack bus, P is not given. Here only V is given. Next, at the other buses, at some buses Q is given, at some buses V is given. If Q is given, that bus is called load bus. If V voltage magnitude is given, that bus is called generator bus. If in addition to the voltage magnitude, voltage angle is given, that bus is called slack bus. So like that, this is the conclusion of what we discussed so far. The quantities given are specified at the buses, and the remaining two quantities are to be obtained. These are the quantities given, these are the quantities obtained. If P and Q are given, that is called load bus, PQ bus. If P and V are given, that is called generator bus or PV bus. If V and delta are given, that is called slack bus or reference bus. So like that, bus data is also needed for a load flow solution. So Y bus data and system bus data, these two are major parts of the data that we required for conduction of load flow. That is very important. Next, methods of load flow. Here in this, it is given that we can use either Y bus matrix or Z bus method for conduction of load flow. But anyhow, because of the simplicity and ease of construction of Y bus compared to Z bus, it is recommended to use Y bus for the solution of load flow. That is mentioned here. Y bus is generally used. Next, once the problem is formulated for the given power system, we will get equations. Those equations are not simple algebraic equations. They are nonlinear equations. If we formulate the problem for load flow, the resulting equations are nonlinear and differential equations. We cannot use simple algorithmic methods for the solution of these equations. We need some iterative methods to get the solution of these equations. We are having some iterative methods such as Gauss method, Gauss-Seidel method, etc. Newton-Raphson method, etc. are available. Those are all general mathematical models. Same we can use for our load flow problem also. So here again we have already seen the bus admittance matrix, Y bus, how to construct the Y bus and how to write Y bus for a given power system network if the line data in impedances or admittances form are given. We already did some problems also. Same thing here it is mentioned. Here only thing is same thing here mentioned. For a Y bus, the diagonal element is sum of admittances connected node I. For example, diagonal element YII, here it is YIJ, off diagonal element, and diagonal element YII is sum of admittances connected at node I, and off diagonal element is the value of admittance, negative of the value of the admittance between the I and J. Same thing, that is all over. But in case if there is a off nominal transformer present in between any line PQ, the Y bus data, that means the admittances of the elements connected to that P and Q will slightly change like this. This is only the some point, but these are all beyond the scope at this point. We need not consider that. You leave that right now. We'll switch over to the next topic. Except this one, this is already over. Construction of Y bus is, we also did some problems on this Y bus. Some problems are here given here also. We'll proceed. We can easily do that problems. But before to that, you see the preparation of network model for load flow. For load flow, how to model the given system, to construct the Y bus and also to calculate the powers in all the lines. How conveniently a given power system network can be modeled, that is also we have to consider. See, generally, for example, if you are given with a 4 bus system like this, here 4 buses are there and 5 lines are there, all the buses are named like this. This is first bus, second bus, third bus and fourth bus, like this. To get the model, first of all, as I said in the previous discussion, you see here, to arrive at the network model of a power system, this is the given network that is to be modeled in a suitable form for load flow solution. To arrive that suitable model, suitable form, it is sufficiently accurate to represent a short line by series impedance and a long line by nominal pi model. In getting that suitable model or suitable network, first what we do is, we will assume all the lines, if it is a series, small line, short line, we will represent it by only series impedance, one impedance, series impedance, that's all. If it is a long and medium lines, we will represent that line by pi model. So that is one point. Lines are to be represented either by simply series impedance or in pi model. That is one point in preparation of model. Next, another point, it is convenient in load flow studies to work with net complex power at each bus. At each bus, we will represent net complex power flowing into the bus. That is what I said in the previous discussion. I said at that point that we will come across this topic or this concept later. I said that. Now you see, we come across that point. Net complex power into the system. That is, for example, you take this bus. Here there is some power, complex power injecting by this generator into the system, and at the same bus some power is taken out by load, is utilizing by some load. So here input power is there and output power is also there. If this is the case, we represent these two powers by single power into the network. Into the network means this input power minus output power. So net complex power at each bus is nothing but power injected into the system minus power taken out from the system. Like that we see. You see, net power at ith bus is generated complex power minus demand or load. Here D stands for demand or load. Generated power minus load power, complex power. So generated complex power means Pg plus Jq minus demand or load, Pd minus Q. So this is. So net complex power at each bus is given by this real term, Pg minus Pd, Qg minus Q. So like that we have to calculate. If the powers are given in problem in their own format, we need to convert those powers into this format. That is another point. So all the lines are to be represented by series impedance or shunt admittance or pi model, one point, and all the powers are represented like this, Pg minus Pd or Qg minus Q. These 2 points are to be represented in preparation of the network. If those 2 points are implemented, then the given system, this system, will become modeled like this. You see, if all the lines are assumed to be medium lines or long lines, then we represented all the lines by pi model, series and shunt, series and 2 shunts, like that. And at all the buses we represented only complex power into the systems. all are into the systems. You see the arrow mark, into the systems, into the system, like that we model. Same model. This is schematic diagram, but this is somewhat expanded diagram, like that only. Here this is admittance. You see, this admittance is named simply 1 2. That's all. This series impedance is named as Y12. That's all. Same thing here, Y12. And you see this shunt admittance between, you see, node 1. This is node 1. Node 1 and ground. Okay. This is the shunt admittance between 1 and ground. And that is represented here also. 1 and ground. 1 and ground. Instead of marking here, it is marked at some other place. Same thing, like that. And you see here also, this also another shunt admittance. Shunt admittance of line 1 2. Second part of the shunt admittance of line 1 2. This is also represented here. You see, this is between 2. This is bus 2. So this is between bus 2 and ground. You see this, bus 2 and ground. This is ground, common one, ground point. So this is between bus 2 and ground, and this is named as Y20. That's all. Y20. This is Y12. Why? Because it is between 1 and 2. Series impedance, series admittance. So this is named as Y12. This is named as Y10. Why? Because it is between Y1, node 1, and 0 means ground. Y10. You see, this is Y10. And this is Y20. Y20. Right. So like that, all series admittances and shunt admittances are represented. This is the model. Same network, we modeled it as per the form of load flow solution. Now if this is the model as per the previous discussion or previous concept, we can write or we can construct Y bus for this. For example, Y11, diagonal element, Y11. What is Y11? Y11 is nothing but sum of admittances connected at node 1. You see, what are those admittances? Node 1, 1, 2, 3. So node 1 only 3 admittances. So sum of these 3, that is sum of Y12, Y13 and Y10. So Y11 is over, Y11 is obtained, like that Y11 is. Similarly Y22 is nothing but sum of this Y12 plus this Y23 plus Y24 plus Y22. So at bus 2 4 admittances are there. So therefore sum of these 4 equal to Y22. Like that Y33 and Y44 also. This is about the diagonal elements. Next, off diagonal elements, Y12, Y13, so on. Off diagonal element is given by Y12 is nothing but negative of the admittance between nodes 1 and 2, buses 1 and 2. So here for this problem, Y bus element Y12 equal to minus of this value, minus of Y1. Similarly, Y bus element Y23 is equal to minus of this value, Y2. So like that, off diagonal elements can also be calculated. So total Y bus can be constructed. Only thing is, here shunt admittance are also will be given in the problem. If shunt admittances are given, they have to be suitably connected at all the buses or all the lines. It is useful to write or to draw the figure like this. Then you can easily construct the Y bus. You see one example here. Here a system is given with, if you see this, you can get 4 buses. With 4 buses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. 4 buses and 5 lines are given. For all the lines, series impedance is given and also shunt admittance is given. Is also given. In construction of Y bus, if impedances are given, they have to be converted into admittances. Remember that. Here it is given as impedance. So these are all have to be converted into admittances. Whereas here directly given admittance, shunt branch, admittance is given. Need not convert, only admittance. Only for this admittances are to be obtained. So for line 1 to series impedance and also admittance, we can easily convert. Take it as that admittance is given. So admittance, series admittance and shunt admittance both are given. These are marked like this. Series admittance, this value, 1 by this value is this, and shunt admittance is given, that is to be represented like this, as it is given as J.02, J.02 and J.02. These are marked like this. Next, for bus 2-3 also, 2-3, this is 2-3. Series admittance is given, this is series admittance. So remember, just notice here that I have written 0.3 plus J.9 here. This is not the correct, this is impedance, but here if it is an admittance, we have to convert it into the admittance, and that only you have to use here. Here only to explain, I used the same thing here. In problem, admittance are to be considered. This is admittance. 1 by this value is to be used here in the problem. Similarly, this is also 1-3, line 1-3 series impedance, and these are line 1-3 shunt admittance. Line 1-3 shunt admittance are to be marked, one at this point and another this point. Like that, for all the 5 lines given, series admittances and shunt admittances are represented like this. Once this is represented, now as per the previous explanation of construction of Y bus, you can easily construct Y bus. That means calculation of diagonal elements and calculation of off diagonal elements. If you do, you will get this value. So this is the problem with, as I said, transformer, off-normal transformer. You leave this problem. Don't do this problem. This is only given, not necessary. You go for, or you just verify this problem. This is the problem on construction of Y bus. This shunt admittance means this is also comes under Y bus data. Here it is mentioned separately. For construction of Y bus, not only bus series impedance, shunt admittance. At some buses, there will be shunt admittances. Not only the admittance of line, but extra admittances by means of capacitors and inductors will be there for improving the voltage profile. If such capacitors or inductors are there, that data is also to be taken into consideration in construction of Y bus. That is given here. That data is also to be taken into account in construction of Y bus. It is another problem, same thing. So this is about the load flow solution. That means load flow analysis or power flow analysis, its need and its definition, and what is the data required to start the load flow problem. That is nothing but Y bus data and system bus information, and construction of Y bus. That is all. Next, in the next topic or next video, we will see how a load flow problem can be formulated. The load flow is nothing but steady state solution of the network. We have already seen how to solve networks in our basic course of electrical circuits. But here the network in our hand is not such a simple network. Here it is a power system network with very huge data. So therefore the problem is to be formulated or framed in a particular manner. So that problem formulation, nothing but development of load flow equation. Problem formulation or development of load flow equations. That we will see in the next video. Thank you very much.